For over 2 years now on this channel, I've been recommending FIFA career mode save ideas. I've posted a few series of my own, including a Forest, Braga and West Ham one, but today I'm turning the tables again. I'll be looking at another 5 of your career modes and I'll be rating them on how good I think they are. All of the saves posted in today's video were posted on my Discord server, so if you're interested in being in a future video, make sure you join with a link in the description below. So, who's going to be getting reviewed first? Welsh Discord member Kato has been managing Newport County and Wales all the way until 2026. Now they're in the Premier League, they have a team full of superstars and the Welsh national team is looking like it's in the middle of a rebuild. It didn't take long for Newport to have success under their new manager. After signing Afif, Tagnauti, Vega and Bukhari in Season 1, they managed to win League 2 and the FA Cup. In Season 2, they won League 1, the FA Cup and the Europa League, and then in Season 3, they finished second in the Championship while also reaching the final of the Champions League. One thing I did notice was how good their club record was, losing just 15 times in 242 games. Playing as their own custom manager, I'm sure they'll want to go one further and win the Champions League in the near future. But let's get over to rating their save. Make sure you play along and post your ratings in the comments below. We're going for save idea, fun and realism today. I do like the save idea. The idea of doing a club and country with Wales is interesting, so that's a 9. For fun, I like some of the players you used, but you can't really say this was very realistic at all. To be fair to Kato, they did say they're going to try and up the difficulty soon. They did also accept it wasn't the most realistic of FIFA saves. But overall, a pretty good save, the Wales team looks fun, and I'm sure you're enjoying playing as Newport in the Premier League. Moving from Wales to Sweden, IFK Göteborg is Roddy's FIFA career mode save. He picked them because he loves Volvos, he loves heavy metal, and he thinks that it was cool that Göteborg did win European trophies in the past. You can definitely see the kind of ethos that he wants his club to have. It's almost entirely Swedish, and the players that aren't Swedish are just from other Scandinavian countries. This seems to be working too because he's won 2 Swedish Cups, one of which was won with the goal you're seeing on screen right now. He's won a Europa League and he's won 3 Allsvenskan trophies. I like the fact that he's using a club in a smaller league that has been successful in the past. You can see some pictures right here of his Europa League and Swedish Cup triumphs, and the fact that he's built up a team from a smaller league using locally born players is something that I really rate. You might also notice a couple of players on here that are very familiar to career mode fans, so I'm sure all of us have signed Ahmed Hodzic and Larsson, Gyökeres even, in the past, so it's cool to see some of those in the squad too. So let's finally get over to rating this save. Overall, I think the save idea is really good. Like I said before, it's cool to have like a Swedish team trying to get them back to glory where they have been in the past. I really do rate that kind of thing. I think you might find it a little bit too easy in the Swedish league, but having the Europa League and the Champions League as things to aim for is probably going to keep it a little bit more fun. When it comes to realism, it might not be the most realistic to have a Swedish team be this good, but I think it's good that you have kept it a little bit more realistic with the transfers. You can imagine Norwegian and Danish players all moving to Sweden if there is a really good team in that area. For save idea, I'll give this one a 9.5. For fun, I would give it an 8 because I think the league might be a bit too easy. And for realism, we'll give it a 7.5 because it could happen, but it's very unlikely to happen in real life. Murray Man shared this next save where he's been rebuilding the Irish national team with foreign-born lads. The main goal of his save was to try and use a lot of players who were eligible to represent Ireland even if they weren't born there. Some very famous Irish players were not born in Ireland, including Aidan McGeeney and Chris Hughton. While not many people have played as Mick McCarthy recently, that's exactly what Murray Man has done, and he has lost half his games, so we know he is playing on the right difficulty and probably playing fairly realistically. Looking at the squad, you can see the overalls are about what you would expect from a Republic of Ireland national team. They've always had a player that's been decent up front, they've had one in midfield usually, and then usually a couple of good defenders. It seems like he is missing that Robbie Keane and that John O'Shea level player, one at front and one at the back, but overall, I do really like this team. I think the most interesting part of this entire save is though that he managed to win Euro 2024 with the national team, which is a pretty amazing achievement with the ability of some of these players. So imagine you're playing against someone like Prime France with 93 rated Mbappe, he's playing against Geografifa here who's 69 overall. While I wish we had got some footage of Ireland lifting Euro 2024, of course this save was played quite a while ago, so any chance of that happening is very much gone. In my opinion, club and country saves can be some of the most fun you have on FIFA, even if you're not managing in a specific nation. So if you want to manage as Hibernian in Scotland, but also play as Republic of Ireland, of course, that is totally fine, and it should be a fun save either way. It's actually really hard to rate this one for realism because of course all of these players are Irish to get into the Irish national team, so I'm not sure you can really say too much about realism here. I really do like the save idea. In fact, I've actually made a video about rebuilding the Irish national team in the past. I can also imagine it's a very fun save, so I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 for save idea, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for fun. Like I said, I can't really rate the realism because it is just Irish players playing for Ireland. You can't really say how realistic that is, but overall, a really good save, and thank you for sharing. Next up is Makis, who's decided to take over Sevilla with Marco Silva. They're trying to make Sevilla the third best team in Spain, of course, after Real Madrid and Barcelona, and in their first season, they sold 9 of their starting 11 players to get long-term replacements and rebuild the squad with some high potential. You can see that it is absolutely paying off. You've got some really good players. You've got players like Giovanni Reina right here, 87 rated. Gonzalo Ramos is an 88 rated striker. You might be thinking with a squad like this, he can't be far off the top 3. Well, actually, just a few days after submitting the save, they managed to finally win La Liga. Not only that, they got to the Champions League final. However, just like last year, they did actually lose in the final. Before it was Liverpool, this time it was Roma. It just shows this save isn't done yet and it's only going to keep getting better. With Gonzalo Ramos now 92 rated and getting 44 goals a season, the goal is now to find some more cheap prospects with the maximum value of 45 million to try and take that step to win the Champions League. So what can we say about this career mode before we rate it? I really like the save. I think it's a cool idea trying to get Sevilla to try and win a Champions League. They've of course always been one of those Europa League specialist kind of teams, so trying to win them their first title while also focusing on young players and trying to sign them cheap. I think he said his transfer record was about 44 million euros. This is going to be quite a cool save. It's going to take quite a while, and if you do it realistically, it can be super fun too. So, rating this save, I think the save idea is a fairly average one. I think bringing a mid-table team into Europe is something that a lot of people can think of, so it's not too unique. So we'll give that a 7 out of 10. I think it would be a fun save though, because it's going to be quite a long-term save, trying to fully develop a full team. So we'll give it a 9.5 for that. And for realism, I think he's done a pretty good job, despite doing a full rebuild in that first season. So we'll give this a 9 out of 10 for that. Once again, thank you for sharing your save, and hope you enjoy the rest of your game. Finally, we have a save by Luke, who's decided to try and transform Burnley from being more of a Brexit style football to a possession-based Tiki-Taka style of play. To try and keep the game a bit more difficult, he sells his better players to bigger clubs. For example, he sold Scott Twine to Chelsea, Josh Brownhill to Man City, and Thomas to Arsenal. Despite being able to sell any player to any club, he's just won the Champions League, and now he's going for the Premier League in Season 5 of his career mode save. I think the shift in tactics is one of the most interesting parts of this career mode. The fact that he plays like company now rather than Dyche is pretty interesting, and it's a really good way of using a real manager on FIFA career mode. This isn't the only way that he has used Vincent Kompany as his manager though. He signed a bunch of centre-backs into his squad because you can imagine a lot of young centre-backs would like to learn from one of the best centre-backs of the Premier League of all time. I think this is a really good way of doing things, so if you're managing as someone like Frank Lampard, maybe sign a bunch of midfielders. If you're being Fernando Torres, try and sign as many strikers as you can. It's a cool idea and not one that I'd really thought of before. I think the squad looks really balanced as well. It's got half of the team seems like it's British, half of it seems like it's Belgian, and then a couple of players here and there from other nations too. It's a good way of balancing the squad out, and again, a good way of using Vincent Kompany, so I really do rate this save. I think saves that start in the Championship and go up to the Premier League are also the most fun way of playing in the Premier League. So let's get over to rating our save and see what this one gets. Because this is the last save we're rating today, don't forget to submit your ratings in the comments below, and I'll also do a poll so you can vote on which save you thought was your favourite in today's video. But let's get over to the rating. I think the save idea of bringing Burnley back to the Premier League isn't that unique, to be honest, so we're going to give that one just a 7 out of 10. However, for realism and fun, this is going to score quite highly. I think the squad is very realistic, so if a team did get up from the Championship to being sort of Champions League contenders, I'd imagine this is what the ratings in the squad would look like. It would have players in the low 80s, it would have players in the high 80s, but it wouldn't have players like 95 rated at a team like Burnley. We're going to give the fun aspect of this save an 8.5 because I do like playing in the Premier League and I think it would be a very fun save, and we're going to give the realism part a 9 out of 10. Despite having some really highly rated players, I think it's a believable amount, and they're at the sort of ratings you can imagine a team like this would have. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you did and you want to submit your own career modes, head over to the Discord. All the links are in the description below. You have to post a couple of times to get access, but it shouldn't take you too long to be able to submit your own. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to post your comments and ratings of every single save we looked at today in the comments below. I'll see you soon. Thank you and goodbye.